On Rewind Stargate Universe, Stargate Universe took a different turn, establishing darker storylines. Some fans frankly protested, liking the core adventure stories better. But this series deserves a closer look. Here is my special tape during the run of the series from interviews at San Diego Comic-Con. My look at Stargate Universe in a moment. Stargate Universe had a great cast, and I still feel it's underappreciated. Here's my look at the series. I have the interviews from the roundtables, and we kick off with executive producer and a man who's been with Stargate for quite some time, Robert Cooper.
Could you address, I know that you're actually going to be more of a consulting role on Stargate going.
Yeah, I'm stepping back. Why? I've been doing this a long, long time. 14 years, 17 seasons, 2 movies. When we started SGU, my plan was actually only to do the first season, and then I loved the show so much and the cast, and I stayed the extra year. So it was always part of the plan to at some point branch out and try and do some other stuff. Look, I am incredibly grateful for having been a part of this experience. Nobody expects to be a part of a show that goes 10 years, never mind a franchise that goes 17 seasons of television. It's been incredible. I feel incredibly lucky to have been a part of it. But I also see other things out there that I would love to do. So, I don't ever see myself completely leaving the Stargate franchise. Nobody ever dies in Sci-Fi, right?
Especially on Stargate.
That's right.
Can you kind of tease us a little bit at the beginning of the second season, or what you're going to throw at us a little bit?
Well, we Rush discovers the bridge, doesn't tell anybody about it right away, like Rush. And I think we figure out a lot more about Destiny and what Destiny's mission is and why the Ancients built it and sent it out there, and I think we as a group of people start to focus a little more on what the bigger mission is and how we can really contribute. Less about how do we get out of it here and go home, and more about moving forward. And Season 1 was about getting the ball rolling and introducing the characters. Season 2 hits the ground running. I mean, we're obviously finishing the Lucian storyline to a certain extent. That continues on, and then right into the sort of aliens and alien world adventure after that.
It's difficult to balance the need to service your plot versus servicing the large cast and getting them scenes.
No, I mean, I don't think it's with our cast. It's almost a treat. You can't wait to write a scene for each of them, and I mean, it's exciting to get to sort of see the dynamic that occurs between all the different people. I mean, I love it. I mean, the fact that they're all so incredibly talented and so different is, it's incredible. It's a treat for a writer to have that, opportunity. And they come to life when you cast, and our cast is phenomenal.
Next up is fan favorite David Blue.
So last time we saw you, you were missing. What happens?
I was like, wait a minute, are you talking about episode 10? Because you got a lot of catching up to do. Well, I'm still around, as you might have noticed. Pretty screwed up if they brought me here and I died in that episode. Or did I? Brad Wright, actually, at the end of last season, I joked with him and said, because they hadn't renewed us yet, and I said, as a joke, I'm psychic, I can predict I'll be in every episode of season 2, and he said, yeah, I guess a corpse is in every episode. And yeah, scared the crap out of me. Scared the crap out of me. Sorry, what was the question?
So I mean, yeah, you come back, and you know, there's like a hint that you guys might not be who you might be.
Well, I mean, that's sci-fi for you. You never quite know what to expect. It's hard as an actor at the end of the season, not knowing if you're coming back, not knowing you don't get that renewal right away. You kind of wonder who's going to be there next year, who's not. I think Lost kind of started that thing where lead characters can die and be killed off, and it kind of feels like no one's safe, but that makes it more exciting for the audience. And it doesn't get wrapped up very quickly. I'll tease it like that. I wish. I don't wish. I did wish, but looking around and seeing everyone in the You're Here shirts is pretty cool. I always joke with Brad and Rob, when are we going to go to Planet Gap? Because I'd love for a change of clothes. I didn't realize I'd be wearing the same thing forever when they first asked me what I like to wear, and I said a t-shirt and hoodie. Now I can't wear it anymore because people just automatically assume I'm Eli.
Is your love life going to get better?
I don't want to spoil too much, but Eli, we definitely explore the romantic side of Eli in season 2. There's some great new characters on board as well that you'll get to meet, and Eli's relationships are it's crazy because in the first season we were really getting used to each other, learning who we could trust, and I think the second season is more about accepting where you are and learning your place in that world, and then more than that, determining once and for all who is on your side and who isn't, and that kind of goes with relationships too, doesn't it?
How much of a lie there's in you? I mean, are you a video game kind of...
I am. I'm happy to be a gigantic nerd. I don't get to play as many video games as I used to anymore, but I still have all the consoles, and for some reason I keep buying them. I keep buying all the new video games, and they just sit on my shelf. In fact, I had a very disturbing moment. I told somebody this recently, playing Dragon Age during our last hiatus, when my character accidentally slept with a character, and then I realized it was Claudia Black's voice. It scared the crap out of me, because she's a friend of mine. I love video games. I try to watch every TV show and movie I can get my hands on. You guys see Inception yet?
Not yet.
Oh, so good. Got to go see it like 4 more times. We have that in common. In fact, I think I'm probably more of a nerd than Eli is.
Is there more pressure on you because you're the audience entryway into the show?
God bless you for saying that. That's how they described it to me when I was first talking about the role, was that I would be the surrogate really for the audience, and it was a lot of pressure. I almost didn't know if I wanted that much responsibility, and the fact that people consider Eli that is an honor. And then I like the stuff that happens even more because of it. I like Eli saving the day every now and then because it really lets the audience feel like they're helping. And they really do explore that more in season 2 for sure.
Probably wants to sleep with Elise too.
Anyone would. Have you seen these people, Elise and Alaina? And I mean, there's a reason why Eli's flirting with the people that he's flirting with. They're gorgeous women. It's ridiculous. But then you're competing with people like Brian, who have triceps and biceps and other muscles I've never even heard of. You're grinning over there,
You still have the killer smile.
Oh, thank you. Well, now I'm self-conscious about it.
What's your relationship with classic science fiction? Are you a fan of science fiction as well? I mean, anything
Well,
particular?
define classic.
Well, Asimov or Einstein?
Yeah, absolutely. Growing up, I actually volunteered in the library, and I read a lot, Dune and all that jazz. These days, I feel like we're just recycling those stories over and over again, so it's hard. That's why I think classic throws me, because it feels like it doesn't exist anymore. I'm waiting for a remake of 2001. I think sci-fi is special, and it's funny that it had a bad stigma for so long, at least when I was growing up. When I was having my Star Trek Next Generation birthday parties, I was looked down on. But now it's cool because people are realizing it's just imagination. It's just fantasy, and that's why so many shows are becoming sci-fi nowadays, is because it allows us to really imagine, It's also why I read Stephen Hawking, reading about a black hole. Of course you're going to think about Star Trek.
How about your use of Twitter? How's the fan interaction been using Twitter?
I love it. It's a dangerous thing you got to be careful about. People get mad at me that I don't respond, but it's hard to respond to 100,000 people. It's been a lot of fun, which is why I've gotten my castmates addicted to it. it's something that we didn't have when we were young. Like, I couldn't write to Jonathan Frakes without finding out who his agent was, finding out where to send it, and hoping that somebody would send something back or not just a printed headshot. I like being able to respond to people when I can, and telling them what I'm up to and sharing what this is like for me with them. I wish I would have had. I used to have dreams about running into actors from shows that I like. So if I can do that by interacting with them, Twitter or the Facebook fan page or even just talking to them at conventions, then I feel like I'm giving back to people who helped me out, who I would have loved to meet and when I was a fan. Oh, okay. To be continued. Thank you guys.
More on Stargate Universe on Rewind, so stay tuned. We have now TJ, played by Alaina Huffman.
Boy, what you've gone through this season so far has been amazing. That pregnancy and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, emotionally, a really difficult arc for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I was pregnant in real life. Some people don't know. In fact, we had, Rona. No, I was. And it's really funny, though. Actually, Lou was on, the first handful of episodes, and then he went off and did something else, and he came back for the last half. So I hadn't seen him, and he didn't know I was really pregnant. And he came... We were rehearsing one of the scenes back, and I had my, belly, and he's like, "Oh, can I touch your belly?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he touched it, and he's like, "Oh my God, it's real!" I was like, "Yeah." So he had thought they just wrote it in, and he found out I was pregnant. I'm very thankful for the way that they dealt with it. I think it was a really great storyline to introduce. It's something that I know that they wanted to explore at some point, but not necessarily so early on, not necessarily with my character, but I'm glad it worked out.
Anything interesting on the last few episodes that we haven't seen yet? Are the aliens going to come back, possibly?
The last few of season 1? You haven't seen the finale yet? Of the beginning of season 2? Yeah, season 2 starts in October, and we've shot up until episode 11. So we've got the Lucian Alliance now on the ship from the end of season 1, and they stick around. We've got both good and bad characters from that, so that adds an interesting dynamic to the already sort of divide between the civilians and the military. TJ has a really emotional first half of the second season, but she still has her job to do, and she's the only one who can do it on the ship. So she's got to sort of get a hold of herself, and that's really interesting and fun to play as well.
What do you think's been the most difficult for her adapting to this?
I think for TJ, I really love the stretch that she has. I love the fact that she is a very strong, capable person, and like everyone else is literally just thrown into this situation and doesn't know what to do. So she has her sort of vulnerability in that, but then because she is Ming, that's what you hear all day at work, Ming laughing. Like, oh, Ming must be rapt. She's off laughing in somewhere. Anyways, and then she's got a lot of emotions, and because we're on this ship and we all have our job, but we all have our personal life, and I think they do a really great job of sort of bringing them together and then defining them as well, so that we can play all of them. I like it too. Yeah. Yeah, right. Especially with Kiva. I thought Kiva was a really cool character.
Do you ever miss smiling? Your arc has been so relentlessly grounded.
Yeah, I smile a lot as soon as they call cut. You guys weren't in the panel, I guess. Rob, I think, introduced me and was like, "You're the most bubbly, smiley, happy person I know." And it's true, and I guess yeah, TJ doesn't come across that way, but
no, they never give you that moment.
No, to smile and laugh. There was that one moment in time where she's laughing, and I didn't understand it, and I said to Robert Cooper, because he wrote it and he directed it, and he's like, I just because he thinks of me as like this smiley, laughing, bubbly person, he wanted just a scene where I was laughing, so he wrote it in. That's the power.
I enjoyed when you when you all went to that planet and TJ for a moment wanted to stay behind.
Yeah, Faith.
I thought that was a very human reaction, especially giving a baby and having a place to raise her. Describe how that was for you to play, and how did you get to that point?
Carl Binder wrote that episode, and I think he really touched on the very human aspect of it, like you said, and we all have it. I love that Lieutenant Scott sort of steps away from his "I will follow anything" Colonel Young, says, and really wants to stay too, because it is a very human emotion. It was very fun to play, and that was a really great episode. I think it was bright, and it was pretty, and they shot it with like a CPL or a tungsten film, so it was just so different from the dark, dreary Stargate set, and it was really nice to be outside. That being said, I love shooting on a spaceship because we go home at 7 o'clock on a Friday night. So that was a good thing.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Talented actor who I'm very glad is involved in this series, Robert Carlyle.
Rush is what I find interesting about him. I don't consider him necessarily a bad character.
Yeah.
He just believes he's right all the time, for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Rush is nothing if not pragmatic. I think that's what he's all about. One of the episodes that's coming up, in actual fact, is called The Greater Good, which is really what Rush is all about. That it doesn't matter about individual sacrifice to him if the mission or the greater good is satisfied. So I agree with you. I don't think he's necessarily a bad character. I don't think he's necessarily the most honest guy. I think that's the problem there.
He's morally flexible.
Yeah, I like that. He's morally flexible. Yeah.
What's the difficult thing about playing this character?
Okay, I mean, technically, the technical difficulties would be the technical stuff that he has to say. When you're talking about wormholes and solar flares and time stuff, I mean, that's just, to me, I don't know what I'm talking about there. I have to really, it's like Shakespeare, try to get that into my head. So that's a wee bit difficult. But in terms of the acting, it's very important to just walk a particular line with Rush, because as you just say there, you don't want to completely alienate the audience, and it's very, very easy to do that with a character like Rush. They think, well, I don't like this guy, and I don't like him at all, what he's up to, he's dishonest, all of that. So he has to have good reasons for what he does, and I think that's the strength in the character that Brad Wright and Robert Cooper have set in place, is that yes, it's maybe a bit distasteful, but he's right. So that makes it okay to me.
What's interesting is the relationship between him and Young.
Yeah.
It's almost like an analogy, or it's science versus the military. And I think that's what's fascinating. And actually, that's something that Young says all the time: the greater good.
Well, interestingly, in the episode "The Greater Good," we Young and Rush end up alone on an alien ship, deserted. And we play out an 11-page scene together, and then that's quickly followed by an 8-page scene after that. So these scenes took about a day and a half in actual fact, and during those sequences, that's when Rush confesses what he knows so far. So everything's kind of on the table. I mean, he has to, he's like this, so he has to. So he's honest and he tells them. But what he manages to do in typically brilliant Rush fashion, that by the end of it, he brings him on side and says, it's time to stop looking behind you. It's time to stop thinking about going home. It's about going forward now. So we'll see how long that piece lasts.
What was your reaction when you got the script that took you back to your wife's death?
Well, that was something that was always going to be there. That was always going to be shown at some point. I think it was important to do that, but I was very pleased, and we kind of spoke about this, myself and Robert Cooper and Brad. It was good that it didn't come till about episode 13, 14, so you still weren't sure what had been going on in the man's life before you saw him in Stargate Universe world. And I think it was perfect that they held it back for that, because I think it gave it its proper impact then. So it was a very interesting episode to play, that's for sure. Difficult episode to play because he couldn't be emotionally involved with this woman. He'd played it all before. This was a replay. So he couldn't do it. I mean, the whole thing was he's not looking. The whole script was he wasn't looking, he's not talking, he's not doing anything. Very hard, particularly for an actor like myself, to be honest, because I'm all about that. So it'd be very difficult for Louise Lombard, who played my wife, looking at this the whole time. Very, very difficult episode for her.
But you've had quite a ride with him so far. All the different arcs you've had to play.
Yeah, it's to show that he was coming from somewhere that he wasn't necessarily always in that place, you know. Something had made him that way.
But you've had quite a ride with him so far. All the different arcs you've had to play.
Yeah, it just keeps going. I tell you, the next season it keeps going and keeps going. But that's wonderful. I mean, that's why I'm here.
Truly a series that deserved more time. Currently, Stargate Universe is streaming on Prime Video and Pluto TV. Prime does have a subscription. Pluto TV is free, but with commercials. For Rewind, this is Tony Tolato. Thanks for listening.